Hi, how are you?
Hey Kevin, I'm good. So since I've been at Comic-Con, I've been reading your book, Tough Shit. It's been my line reader for the last 4 days, and it's fantastic. All of you guys need to get it. It's hilarious.
Thank you.
Tremendous.
This would be a chapter in it, I promise you, if I was writing it today.
No, but in the book, I kind of got the feeling that maybe we're at the end of the Kevin Smith era. Like, how does Yoga Hosers play into that? Can I expect to show my kids some Kevin Smith films in 10 years, or?
Wow, what a great fucking question. Yes. Right now, I'm kind of in this period, like, you know, artists have different periods. I saw somebody on Twitter told me this. They were like, I was having a discussion with somebody about your work, and they were like, how come it's not like it used to be? And they were like, well, you know how Picasso had a blue period? Kevin's just having a maple period right now. Because all the movies are kind of set in Canada and shit, and very much just for me. They're very masturbatory little films, just because I was kind of out of the game. I was done, I wasn't going to make films anymore, and then Tusk kind of brought me back. And Tusk started this kind of like, oh, well, this is fun. I'd like to do this. Like, if this counts, if I can do a movie like this, just make weird movies, because I was always worried. Like, when I first got into the business, the only way I did the job was by taking from my real life and putting it on the screen and just changing people's names and stuff. So, like, Clerks exists because I worked at that convenience store. Mallrats exists because I hung out with my friends at the mall like that. I didn't swing from the roof or anything, but I wished I did, you know. Chasing Amy existed because I was that guy in that relationship, and Dog existed because I, you know, went to Catholic school for 8 fucking years, was an altar boy, would chuckle every time the priest was like, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, you know. So I was never really an imaginative writer or anything like that. I just cribbed from my own life, and then, you know, by the time you get to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, you see that I ran out of real life to crib from, because I'd entered the movie world and became a filmmaker for a living, which was great, but then you stop being a real life person. When somebody pays you to make pretend for a living, you're no longer a responsible adult. You know, you're paid to be a child for most of your life. And I don't regret it, that's awesome. Believe me, if you can get the job, do it. But unfortunately, what you trade off is a development as a human being, facing like normal struggles that most people do and stuff. And so for me, I ran out of personal things to say. Like, I didn't have anything interesting enough to say and stuff. So I started making movies about making movies, like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back and Zack and Miri movies about making movies, and I like them, but that comes from somebody who's like, I haven't had anything real happen to me in a long time because all I do is make pretend for them. And I also got this theory that like happy people don't make great art. Like most of the good shit I've done while I've been in a sad place or a bad place or striving for more and shit. Never really made anything great while I was content in life. So, you know, I felt like, and then maybe it's just an excuse for me to say this, to not make this stuff, but I'm like, happy people don't make great art. It took me a few years to really figure out though, happy people may not make great art, but they can make weird art. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, like, I look at David Lynch, I was like, he's happy. He makes the weirdest fucking art on the planet, you know? And not every filmmaker has to draw from their real life to tell the story. That's just the way I did the job from the beginning. And since I was commended for it with Clerks, I was like, well, I'm gonna just keep doing this forever. Like, this is what they like, this is what I can do. Just take from my own life, change it around, and turn it into a movie. So, you know, once I got to this place where I'm like, I'm not unhappy anymore. I'm married, I got a kid, everything kind of worked out, I got this great career and stuff. I don't really have anything all that interesting to say. I put all that stuff into the podcast and whatnot. But in terms of making a movie about it, that's why I was easy to step back, because I'm like, I can't do it the way I used to do it back in the day. But then with the Tusk thing, suddenly I was like, oh, this is a new way to do the job. I just make fucking shit up. Like, it doesn't have to be relevant to me. It's not like I made Tusk because I went out with a girl like that once, you know? It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna tell this story for the sake of telling it. Like, I never really had an experimental period as a filmmaker. Kind of hit the ground running with Clerks. Like, Clerks was meant to be an experimental film. It's not that experimental, it's just people talking to each other. But that kind of kick-started my career and stuff, and I never really got to, like, fuck around. I dropped out of film school and stuff. I never got to make the movies that I grew up loving, you know, movies like Tusk. Like, I loved Reanimator and From Beyond, shit like that. David Cronenberg movies, David Lynch movies. So now, like, this deep into my career, I kind of had to get bit by this bug where I was like, let me make movies like that, and that's what Tusk was. So Tusk gave birth to Yoga Hosers, and then suddenly I was like, I'm gonna make 3 Canadian rubber monster movies, the True North trilogy, Tusk, Yoga Hosers, and Moose Jaws, which is just Jaws with a moose. But And I've seen people online be like, he's fucking smoking too much weed. They're probably right. But I'm having fun, and that's kind of like what you're supposed to do. Like, that's why I keep the budgets low. I'm not going like, hey, let's be irresponsible with $50 million. No, you keep it as inexpensive as you can. Pack it with as many cast members that people know so you can possibly sell the movie and stuff or overseas domestically. And, you know, go for it. Like, take a big swing. If it works, great. If not, like, you always remember the first time you were talking about going, like, wouldn't it be weird? Like, the folks at Demorast, the guys that financed Tusk, Sam Engelbart, man, well, like, when he came down to meet me about it, he showed me the script, and he was like, looking at the Tusk script, he's like, you serious about this? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna finance it myself. And he goes, well, we got some money left over in our slush fund account at the end of the year, man, November, because we're not gonna spend it before December. We can finance this movie if it's under $3 million. And I was like, why the fuck would you finance this movie, man? At least about a guy turns another guy into a fucking walrus. And he was like, I just want to see if you can do it. And so like that, sometimes like that, that's enough to go on. Like that was enough to get me a budget for the movie. I was like, okay, me too, you know? And we were off and running. That guy wasn't going like, we're all gonna get rich off the walrus. He was like, look, we cover our bets. Let's fucking do it. He's going to a weird script, man. I'd like to go down in flames with this. I was like, it's a Kevin Smith movie, you will. So you know, stuff like that, like kind of opened up the door where I was like, oh, this is a different way to do the job, and I've never done the job before, and I like it. It's not about, I'm not making movies about me and my friends now, to bless you. Like my friends got their own TV show, they're on Compliment, so I don't have to like be like Brian Johnson and change his name to Randall, because that's what Brian was. Or take Walter Flanagan and change him into Brody and Malrats. Now I can just be like, hey, there they are. So that frees me up to kind of go like, all right, well, what do I want to do? Like, you know, I wanted to see Clerks when I was a kid, and that happened. I didn't expect the fucking rest, so I've been playing catch up ever since, making it up as I go along. But now, 20 years in, I'm like, what do you want? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I just want to make these stupid fucking movies with rubber monsters in them and try to make them as earnestly as Argo, but like, you know, but not nearly as smart or award-winning, you know, just having fun with myself. So Yoga Hosers was kind of like me getting to do a movie that I grew up watching, like all the movies that I loved in the 80s. And I was really interested in making a movie for my kid. She's older now, right? But when she was younger, I could never show her my stuff. You know, we tried, we turned the sound way the fuck down. And it's not like we were like, what a bad language. She'd be bored by it. You know, she was a little kid, so even if they're sitting there talking, she's like, it's adults talking. Where's all the fun things to look at? So like, I always regretted that we didn't really get to make stuff, or make stuff that I could take her to. Like Jersey Girl was the only movie I could show her. And like most of the world, she was like, I don't like this. So, you know, for me, I was like, we had this moment after Tusk where we were shooting Tusk and the girls wound up in the flick. Like I'd written the part, there's 2 convenience store clerks, 2 girls in the convenience store. And I'd written the part for a guy to play. Originally it was one guy. It was a throwaway line or something about him saying some guy had come in here. And then when I got close to shooting, I was like, well, this whole movie is like, it's clearly not a recipe for success. This is just me going like, let's just have fun. Let's put in everything that I fucking love. So I was like, what do I love in this life? And I was like, I love my kid. Like, it'd be great to put the kid in the movie and stuff. And I could let her work at the convenience store in the movie, so that it'll be like kind of like a Smith family tradition that she was at a convenience store and stuff. And, you know, chances are she'll probably never really work at a convenience store, so this is the only way I'd ever get to see her behind a camera. So I was like, I'm gonna put her in the flick. I said, you want to do it? She's like, okay. And so she told me, like, the night before we were going to shoot her scene, that her friend Lily Rose was coming. She's like, Lily Rose is going to come watch the scene tomorrow. Lily Rose is Johnny Depp's daughter. Johnny Depp was in Tusk as well. So she was coming to watch him and watch Harley. And I was like, Lily Rose is coming? They've known each other like 10 years. And so I said, if she's coming, man, like, it's fun to watch the movie. It's more fun to be in the movie. Ask her if she wants to be in it and stuff. So she asked her, she was like, yeah. And then we asked her parents, we asked Vanessa, and we asked Johnny. And Vanessa was like, yeah, Johnny wants to. And Johnny was like, it would be a missed opportunity, I think, if I didn't get to act with my kid. So I was like, fantastic, we're doing it. And one of the greatest days of my life was sitting on the Tusk set, directing my kid in a scene with like her best friend from childhood and Johnny Depp, one of the world's greatest actors. Like, it was a mind fuck, man. I would sit, like, I was so happy. I was beside myself, because I love fucking actors. That's the only reason I do the job. And he's one of the fucking best and shit. So there we are on set, and I'm directing my kid. We're just like, they're on the other side of the counter looking at us blankly. I'm directing my kid and shit. There's him. Johnny Depp's directing his kid. And then my kid stops listening to me and starts listening to him. Probably a good reason or shit. And then we went and shot the scene, and it was absolutely fucking magic. Most fun I ever had making a movie and stuff. When it was all done, whole cast and crew was into it because the girls had never really done dialogue movies before. When it was all finished, man, everyone's applauding. It was just a party atmosphere. It was also the end of the shoot as well, so that was really cool. And Johnny Depp came up to me afterwards, man. It was one of my favorite moments of my life, and he goes, "You and me should retire and just live off these girls." And I was like, yeah, that's an interesting idea. One of us can do that because one of us owns an island. The other one's going back to the convenience store, you know, I assure you. So before he left, he goes, I love this, dude. He's going, chance to work with a kid was great. I had such a good time. Like, we got him in and out of Tusk in like 2 days, which is not enough time for him to be like, fucking Walrus movie. Like, it's over before he realized it. So, he was like, I love this. Maybe it was because he was like, I'm out of here, but he was like, I love this. That's such a great fucking time. If you ever want me to play Geekdom Point again, just fucking tell me. I'll do it in a heartbeat and stuff. And the dude, you gotta understand, like, he opens, if you've never seen Tusk, his first scene, he has this massive monologue where he's looking down the barrel of the camera and stuff. And when we handed out signs that day on set, it said OC, meaning his big speech, page-and-a-half monologue was going to be off camera. So when we sat down to shoot the scene, I was like, all right, you ready to go? And I said, we're starting with the monologue. And he goes, oh, I thought that's off camera. I thought I was going to record that later. And I was like, oh no, let me look at the sides. Oh shit, you're supposed to be on camera. This is how we begin the scene. I need you to do the monologue. But we'll shoot everything else and we'll come back to the monologue at the end of the day. He goes, no, hold on, look at the sides. And he looked at the sides, no lie, 25 seconds. And he was like, all right, let's give it a shot. And then he sat down, total why not guy. Sat down, we said action, that take is in the movie. Like, he memorized that fucking shit in 20 seconds and was like, and that's the one you see in the flick. So, you know, when he was like, I'll play Geekdom Point anytime you want, I was like, oh my God, don't tempt me, dude. So he was like, seriously, he's like, you can call me up in the middle of the night and just ask me to do Geekdom Point for you and I'll do it. I was like, in a movie, he goes, just on the phone. He's like, I love doing the voice. I was like, thanks, man. So he left, I went home, I started cutting the scene, you know, with the girls. And I really fell in love with it, man. Like, there's something about it I fucking really dug on and stuff. And I watched it over and over. I'd show, like, you know, I shot and cut the rest of the movie prior to that in advance. So this was new footage, so I was enamored of it. But we had shot all the Geekdom Point stuff, and I loved that as well. But I was so fixated on the girls scene. Like, I had to take it in. I showed my wife a zillion times. I took it in one more time to show her. She's like, I've seen it, Kevin. I understand. I was like, I know, but I love the scene so much. Why is it? Why do I love the scene so much? Is it because the girls wearing, like, the red smocks and they kind of look like hockey jerseys or something like that? Or is it because, like, they look from their phones, look up, say shitty things, and look back, and that's what she does in real life? Or like, what is it? And like, why? Or is it because they're so shitty to Americans? Why do I like the scene so much? And Jennifer, my wife, was like, Kevin, you just don't get it, do you? It is two people standing behind a fucking convenience store counter. She's like, you don't get that? I was like, oh God, you're right, it's Clerks with girls, man. But I fell in love with the idea, so I was like, I think I could make a whole movie about these girls. I would love to watch a movie where we just went off and followed them, like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of Tusk. Like, you know, they make one little appearance and shit, they're like, we're off to do your bidding, and they're fucking gone. And instead, we go follow them for a whole flip. So I started writing it, man. Like, I started putting things down, I asked Jen, she was like, oh my God, you really think you can do that? I said, yeah, I'll write a script for the kids. I don't know if we'll be able to do it and stuff, but well, I'll try. So I started writing, and I reached, she said, you might want to talk to Vanessa and John. And I said, oh yeah, I wrote the name out. And so I was talking to Vanessa, and I was like, hey, we got, you know, she showed the scenes from Tusk and Lily Rose, and she loved them a lot. I was like, I got this idea that I'll take the two girls and give them their own movie. And she was like, oh, Kevin, you would never do that. And I was like, I already wrote the script. You know, and she read it, and she was like, oh, this is fun. She was like, yeah, what a great first experience for acting. This was good. And she's like, you talk to Johnny? I was like, we'll call up Johnny. So I called up Johnny, I texted him, I was like, you free to talk? My phone rings, and he calls. I go, hello? And it's him, and he proceeds to do that entire monologue from Tusk. So I go, hello, and he goes, my name is Geekdom Point, and he launches into it. Perfect fucking rendition of it, man. I didn't even interrupt, a minute and a half, and I was just smiling the whole fucking time. And when he was done, I was like, oh my God, you remember the monologues? This is months later, and he was like, I can't stop doing this fucking voice, dude. He goes, everyone in my life hates me because I keep doing Guy Lapointe. And I was like, well, then you're gonna love this. And he goes, what is it? And I was like, I know, I was thinking about maybe making a whole flick about the girls in the convenience store. And he's going, really? And I said, yeah. And then I would bring back Guy Lapointe. And he goes, oh, you must. He's going, if you do that, he's going, I would be there in a heartbeat. I said, really? And he said, oh, please. I was like, well, I got you, man. There's one more. And he goes, what? And I said, I'm thinking about doing a movie after that called Moose Jaws. And he goes, what's that? And I was like, just what it sounds like. It's Jaws, but with a moose. And he goes, can I get eaten? I was like, easily. He goes, I'm in. You know, so we went off and made this Yoga Hosers movie. And I gotta tell you, it was like the most fun I ever had making a movie. The closest tonally to something else I've done. I mean, even though it's set in a convenience store, you know, you're tempted to be like, oh, it's like Clerks, not like Clerks at all. Tonally, it's very close to Mallrats. Like, it's very fucking madcap and really goes for laughs and stuff. You know, there's no cursing. Like, that's the thing. When I started writing it, I was like, oh, I'm writing it for my kid, and the two main characters are 15-year-old girls. So I didn't know how to craft a movie where everyone else is screaming cocksucker in their faces, you know. So I was like, maybe I'll just try going PG-13. Last time I did that, it was Jersey Girl, and that was also a horror movie. So maybe it'll work out. So I wrote it and we shot it thanks to Kim and the good folks at Starscream, and we made it. Now, hopefully, we're gonna bring it out in the beginning of 2016. We have a distributor screening at the end of this month. We made it independently, and hopefully we'll sell it to somebody. So when that happens, we'll release a trailer online and whatnot. But before that, this year we're here in San Diego, we brought a trailer to show y'all. And this is like, this is gonna, I mean, now I don't feel bad because there's not a fuck ton of people here. Like, everyone here pretty much knows me and cares about me and shit. And I was like, oh, this would be a bummer if like I make this a family affair show for a bunch of people who are like, fuck him and his kid. But this is a huge fucking moment for me, man, because back in 2001 when we were here with Jane, Silent Bob, Strike Back, we had the panel and whatnot. I came up and I had my daughter in my arms. She played baby Silent Bob in the movie. So, you know, when we did the panel, she was real curious about all the people and whatnot. I said, yeah, come up on stage with me. And there's footage of me, like, picking her up, bringing her up there, and I say to her, I believe I was just like, say fuck, and she wouldn't say it, you know? So I was just like, damn it, you're not my child. But I haven't really brought her on stage with me since that moment. So to introduce the Yoga Hosers trailer, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my only begotten daughter, man, Harley Quinn. Join me at the podium, my friend.
Wow.
This is the family business.
Hello. Oh my gosh, hello. Hi, towel for you.
Thank you.
You are a little sweaty.
Thank you. Normally it doesn't look like this.
There's so many people here. I have no idea what you're talking about.
People. I know.
I thought no one was going to be here when I came out.
I was telling her, I was like, Star Wars, everyone left for Star Wars, and I was like, nobody's going to be out there. It might be us and 3 people. And that would have been awesome, but this is way better. So
that is so cool, thank you.
Before we get into it, I brought her out here because I wanted to introduce the trailer. Before we get into it though, did you go out onto the floor yet today?
I did go on the floor.
How'd it go?
Well, I went to the Batman section, the very large Batman section, and
well, they got this, the Batman, like the outfits and the suit of armor?
Yeah, all that stuff. And I saw you, and I was like, aw, he missed his boyfriend. And
because I was looking at the armor and shit?
Yeah. And then I went up to hug you, and then I came up behind you, and then when I gave you a hug and you turned around, it wasn't actually you.
dude react?
He was like, are you his daughter? And I was like, yes.
Why'd you fucking think about it, man?
Well, I was a little embarrassed. And then he said that me thinking he was you was the biggest compliment he's ever received.
And then he's like, what are you doing later? Women don't normally just jump up behind me. That's awesome, man. Holy crap. I should have warned you. Yeah, there's a bunch of people. I'm an easy cosplay look. It's just eat a lot, don't shave and shit. Throw on a hockey jersey, you're halfway there. You don't remember being on the stage when you were a kid?
No.
Do you remember me saying, like, say fuck? And you were like, no!
No, I don't.
Do you remember ever going to the Q&A or any of the Hall Ages?
I unfortunately do remember last year I came for a second and you were talking about Batman and I was like, this is cool. I'll come and watch him all the time. And then you started talking about you and Mom having sex. And I was like, bye, I'm leaving right now.
Was it graphic?
Yeah. I could not look at Mom for a while.
That's the reason I love to look at Mom, actually. Are you sure it didn't have something to do with Batman?
I mean, it kind of did. I vaguely remember. I tried to block it out of my memory. I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Well, maybe in the spirit, like, since Batman's the story of death and losing parents, maybe that's the spirit of life and making babies. I don't know. I lost it. Let's do it. Let's introduce the trailer. This is a proud moment for me.
This is a proud moment.
I'm going to kind of watch it. I want to take a picture. I'm sorry, folks. Face them.
All right.
Let me find the angle where it looks fullest.
Well, hello. I'm so excited to be here in general, but also to be introducing Yoga Hosers. Yoga Hosers was a dream come true, but a dream that I didn't even know I had because I didn't know that I wanted to act until my dad was like, hey, I wrote this movie for you, and I was like, awesome. But I had the time of my life doing it, and hello, Dad. I am so excited to show you guys. And the other girl in it, Lily Rose, wishes she could be here today, but she is filming while working on something right now, which is awesome for her, and I'm so happy for her. But she does wish she was here, so she's here in spirit. But yeah, I hope you guys like it. I don't know how it comes on now, so I'm just gonna